There's been a lot of talk about the new live-action but not actually live-action Buzz Lightyear movie, and despite my sons thinking it was tops, there seems to be a large group of people who didn't appreciate it to the same degree. Jeez, they didn't appreciate it at all. Now, I know what you're thinking. Even though we only have an average of 72.6 years of existence on this planet, grown adults will devote time on the internet to argue over a children's movie? Welcome to the human race, I guess. Of course, it does need to be said that I'm aware that the vast majority of the anti-Lightyear voices thrive off exploiting the viewer's outrage at the woke culture war that they themselves perpetuate, and that the only reason they were triggered by Lightyear in the first place was because Disney is massive and has lots of fans, and therefore their hateful takes would be shared by millions, extending their reach and making them more cash money, until inevitably they find something else to be fake outraged about. Little Mermaid, come on down! But shh, just let me make my point, okay? So what do I, a 31-year-old neck-bearded white man, have to say about this that hasn't been said already? Well, quite a lot actually. You see, there seems to be a disconnect between the actual movie and the discourse around it. The discourse is mainly focused on a very small scene in which two women kiss. If you haven't seen it, here it is. One side says that it's a long overdue representation of a minority group. For transparency, if you hadn't realized already, this is my side. Although I do hate the word side. And the other says that it's woke propaganda that's forcing the ideas upon our children. This does raise an immediate question. If the characters were to be replaced with a straight couple, wouldn't that also be forcing ideas onto our children? Namely, that lesbians don't exist? It's an interesting point for sure. Like, can you be guilty of bigotry when you're just advocating for the status quo to continue? Advocating for the world to go back to the way it used to be? Of course you can. In fact, that's the whole point of the gosh darn movie. But more on that later. Having said that, the takes from some on the other side, again, my side, have been interesting as well. I believe representation is important, and therefore I love the inclusion of it in the movie. It is noteworthy. It is the exception that proves the rule. And hopefully, it's a brave new step into a new world where it's no longer noteworthy to portray two women kissing in a children's film. However, the response from those in favour of the kiss has mainly been to downplay the kiss's importance to the movie. Not to downplay the kiss itself, just its position in the overall plot, which is fair enough, but there's more to it. They say that it has no effect on the story, so what's the big deal? Well, actually, they've mainly been like, F you, you effing bigot, but downplaying the kiss is definitely second. Take Eric here from Internet Comment Etiquette, for example. Whilst impersonating someone angry with the scene, he makes a joke about the rest of the movie not being woke.
22 years later, and the planet's been invaded by an evil robot army. By the way, none of this is woke, I'm just letting you know exactly what happened in the story.
Here, Eric is poking fun at the fact that conservatives online are annoyed about something which isn't even essential to the plot of the movie itself. Again, although this is technically correct with the kiss scene, this feeling that the movie is innately non-political is shared amongst most who approved of the kiss. What if I was to tell you, however, that not only was the movie making a political statement, but it was making a political statement about the exact thing the outrage was over. Not that the conservatives knew this, of course. You see, at the start of the movie, Buzz is an old-school space ranger, single-minded. He has a mission to complete, and by dog, he's gonna complete it. Preferably without the help of the younger generation. In fact, he has a hardwired bias against the youthful rookie, Featheringhamston. Buzz then crashes the spaceship, stranding them on the strange planet. What happens then is, in an attempt to go back to the old world, Buzz conducts many experiments to create fuel needed for light-speed travel, each of which sends him further into the future. Or you could say, traps him, and only him, in the past. You see, the rest of the crew move on. They learn to live in the new world, and are happy. Buzz, however, keeps trying to go back to the old world. When he finally makes the light-speed fuel, which is rainbow-coloured by the way, he overshoots his re-entry and misses his landing. This throws him together with a team of young rookies, and despite this being his literal worst nightmare, he learns to work as a team with the younger generation to overcome his conservative nature to return to the old world of the past. In fact, he literally has to defeat the part of himself that wants to destroy the new world, and ensure that the life that has been created never existed. So there you have it. The story of Lightyear is literally that you have to fight your internal biases in order to progress with society. Of course, representation is important, and the scene being included is a fantastic step forward. But for me, the overall message of the movie is just as important. It's important to have empathy for the younger generation and not just assume life was better before. We need to confront our internal biases in order to create an accepting society. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I hope I'm not just giving more ammunition to the conservative snowflakes, but I do think it's important to support the overall message that this movie is trying to communicate. Alright, I'll see you for Terminator next week, and if not, have a nice 72.6 years. I'm gonna go watch Lightyear for the 100th time with my sons. Bye!